My beloved gentlemen and one nice or two nice that are watching this video, today I want to share with you the 2018 Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk. This thing is the most powerful and insane SUV ever made. And let me tell you why right now. And this beauty's main attraction is right inside of the hood. So let me open that hood and show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. And what you guys are looking at here right now, it's the Hellcat motor. That's right, this is a V8 6.2 liter that produces 707 horsepower supercharged engine, and it's the same one that you find on the Hellcat Challenger and on the Hellcat Charger. That's right. Why did they put such a large engine in an SUV? Because why not? They figured, the two-door got it, the four-doors got it, why not in an SUV? So here you have it, SRT V8 6.2 liter engine, baby. Whew. And now that you've enjoyed the engine, let me show you the second thing that I love about this car, and it's how understated it is. This is legitimately a sleeper. If you saw this on the street, you would never guess that this SUV is about to destroy you at that stoplight, and you're about to make a huge mistake by racing it. Because I would never think this moves the way it moves. Never, just by looking at it. But if we pay attention, there's a couple of subtleties in the design that let you know, if you fuck with me, you're not gonna get some money. It is gonna get some money. And those are simple. Look at these hood scoops right here. Oh, just let the beast breathe, and it's nice and warm now that I moved the car. So those are nice lines, those added details. What about the front bumper? I mean, this front, every time you see a car with a big, thick front bumper that takes like it's taking a lot of air and other stuff in there, you know that there's a car that's ready to fuck shit up. And this is not the exception, because that is nice and big. That's what she said. Also, look at the wheels. These are bigger than the standard wheels, and also you see the Brembo brakes that are humongous. That's another nice warning for people to know that you're about to mess with something way bigger than you want. And that's what she said too. Also, Grand Cherokee supercharged. So you see supercharged right here on the side. That's a good sign that you're about to get destroyed. And the other one, I love that they went so subtle with the wing up here. It just looks pretty much standard on the truck, which is great. The back bumper is nice and chunky, but you have a quad exhaust back here that makes the car look ridiculously sexy. And the noise that comes out of it, oh my god. And obviously the badging Trackhawk. So whenever you see one of these, run, dude. Run! And the fact that this bad boy's price is about $95,000, give or take, exactly this car that you're looking at, we're gonna need more than just an engine to compete with. You're gonna need more than just the performance. You're gonna need more than just the outside looks. You're gonna need an interior that matches the outside, because the market is so competitive, just like we've been saying. But guess what, people? Yep, Daddy's got it all in here too. First thing that we want to notice on the interior is how much badging there is to remind you, because we were saying outside, this is a sleeper, but inside the truck, really, I mean, Chrysler really wanted to remind you what you're looking at here. So let's go with one Trackhawk, and then you have a supercharger one right here, and then you have way more Trackhawk on the back of the seats, on the steering wheel. Another badge. And if we're looking at the interior, we're really not missing anything that the other competitors have in their interior. This is really good quality. This is really well made. I mean, look at the leather on the seats. It's fucking delicious. The steering wheel, the leather feels great to grab. What about the carbon fiber that looks kind of like the black badge that they wouldn't let me put on my car because it's illegal in the United States? Now, I'm not saying this carbon fiber, I'm just saying the one in the black badge. But look at it. It's gorgeous. Like every speaker, every single thing is so well put together. And then you have right here, Alcantara all through the headliner. I mean, it is a whole different level of build, quality of build for these cars. It can hold its own against pretty much any competitor now. And it's insane to even think about that now. Holy shit. One thing about these new cars is all of the functionality that you can find on the steering wheel. And this is obviously everything on your right side is going to be to set up your cruise control distance between cars and all that good stuff right here. And then on your other side, you're going to find anything you need to go through all of the menus back there. But most importantly, what happened to the sound system? What happened to the radio? Well, fear not, my dudes. Just like on any other Ferrari, because Chrysler owns this, right here, this is how you're going to change your station. So up, down, and then hold would be select if you need it. And then on the other side of the steering wheel, you have another one of those. And this one is for your volume up, down, and then select. So there you have it. Not too far away from a Ferrari, people. And since Daimler owns Mercedes and everything, you see the same parts bins here. It's just a different quality on top. But that is delicious, people. It's the same quality build, and then you look at them and you know exactly what to do because you're familiar with that. And my dudes, right here I have the key to the beast. And as you can tell, it says Trackhawk right here on the back. And on the front, you're gonna find all the buttons that you're always used to it. Now, this car comes with 2 sets of keys. You have the red ones and the black ones. Whenever you're using the red one, you're gonna be able to utilize all 700 horsepower that are in the engine. But if you have the black ones, you're only going to be able to use 500 horsepower. Why? They just call it the valet mode, right? Because according to Chrysler, 500 horsepower is not enough power for valet parkers to get in trouble. So there's that. Another thing that I love about these cars, and you guys know I'm a gimmick type of guy, double click on that. Boom! Now this dash right here is one of my favorite dashes of all time because it's so simple yet makes such a big statement. Right here in the middle, you guys will see the revs. So you see from 1 to almost 6,000 RPM. It's letting you know immediately that you gotta be focused and you gotta know when to switch gears. Because if you're not, you're gonna fuck up. So there you go, that's that. On the left side, you're gonna have your speedometer. And right there, that one goes all the way to 200 miles an hour, guys, on a fucking Jeep Cherokee. What on earth is the future? And then on the right, you have just your other regular gauges, your fuel, and I believe that's the temperature. I just love how focused this is. Another thing is I was scrolling through the menu here and I was just looking at the dash. This is so cool. Look at all these little icons that come up on the menu side so that you know in what menu you're in. So if you're looking at the diagnostics, then it has the doctor little things. And then you come down right here, the speedometer, and then you see that, right? And then the front of the Jeep, that shows you anything regarding the vehicle. Then you go into the Trackhawk, which is probably the SRT screen, all the performance screens. And then right here, you're gonna have your adaptive cruise control, all that stuff, information as far as your trip, fuel, all that stuff. Your trip information is actually down here, and then your music. I don't know, it's so easy to use and it's so intuitive. I love and adore this. And as I'm showing you all the menus, guys, we gotta give credit where it's deserved because, oh my God, this infotainment system is insane. I was complaining this morning, well, not this morning, yesterday when I got the car, that I had to go through all these steps in order to be able to get to the heated seats and all that stuff. But now look at this. You can legitimately grab the heated seat and drop it into your menu right here, right? Where apps, USB, boom. You drop it right there and then the button becomes active. This is legitimately like on your cell phone. You're able to finally move icons and customize your settings according to whatever your preferences are. This is the first car I've ever seen that, so congratulations, Chrysler. Holy shit. Another thing I love about these American cars is the size of the cup holders. They're so huge. Look at them. Right here, you can put the biggest thing ever. That's what she said. And then right here too. And right here, you can add 2 pretty gigantic drinks. And then there, you can add another 2. And then back here, you can add 2 more, and obviously on the other side. I adore that. Convenience is a mwah for me, so I love that. Another thing you'll notice that they changed in a Jeep, because I don't know if you follow Grand Cherokees or not, but they didn't used to have this gear lever right here. It was completely different, and the reason why they changed it was because it was like a button one. Think about like the G-Wagon one. And the reason why they changed it is because a lot of people were getting out of the cars, they would leave their cars on an incline, and their cars would roll down, because whenever you put park, you could open the door, and if it was not really in park, if the button didn't really click, the car wouldn't lock itself. It would just be neutral, and whenever you open the door, remain in neutral and would calm down. Unfortunately, a famous actor died like that a couple years ago, and thank God Jeep made the right changes. Chrysler made the right changes, and now we have this one, which works perfectly fine, and I'm glad that they made the change. Now this right here is one button that I love and adore, the launch control button, and it has the Christmas tree from the drag strip, which great detail. Now, that's the good news. Here's the bad news. Apparently, you need to have over 500 miles in one of these to be able to access launch control and be able to do launches. We're not there yet. We are at 417 miles. So let me show you what happens when I click that button. It tells me that the car is too new for it to kick it. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do it right now. The good news is Dan and Sam, who loaned me the car, were nice enough to tell me, please put the 500 miles on the car so you can do a launch control and show me. So here we go, people. Tomorrow you're going to see that. Not today, but we're getting closer. Another feature that I love about this car is the multiple driving modes that you have. So you have sport, snow, tow in case you need to pull something or pull on something, sport, and then track. Now, that's all epic and whatnot. You also have a custom driving mode and all of that good stuff. But if this is not appealing enough for you, guess what? Right here, so that's normal. You have it in auto right there. I'm gonna move it to the left to sport. I'm gonna move it to the left to track, and then everything turns off right there. You're on your own, homie, so please don't call your mom, whatever you do after this point. So not in track, let me take it to the snow. Ooh, and then tow, in case you need to tow anything or anyone. So there you have it, people. Different driving modes in a Jeep Cherokee, and especially having one of them being track is insane. I adore the future, adore the future. Another feature that I love, and everyone's catching up to it, it's right here. You see 2 USB ports, you have your auxiliary right here, and then a lighter right there. You have all these power outlets and ports. And then on the back, believe it or not, you're gonna have another 2 USB chargers. So that means no one's gonna have to be fighting over the damn thing so they can charge their phone. And even then, right here, just like in my F-150 or my Raptor, you have a power outlet, like a straight up power outlet. So you can plug in your blender or whatever you need. If you need to make, you know, one of those pressed juices, if you're on that kick, whatever the hell it is. And I actually don't know how to make pressed juices, so. And now let me show you this baller move right here, because I've never seen this before in a mid-size SUV. Right here, right underneath me, I can recline my seat. That's right, recline my seat. And this reclines way more than pretty much any other car that I've been on the back of. So that is so legit. And this is a mid-size SUV. Again, no, this is a Jeep Cherokee. What the fuck? And hang on, if that's not enough for you guys, if that's not enough for you, you see the same lever? You just pull it up and all of that opens down, just like this. You have all that space, and obviously that seat does exactly the same thing, so holy shit. So like with everything, we gotta make sure that we completely understand the place for this truck so that we can make a better assessment at the end and say, oh, you know what? It was well put together, it was not well put together. And the most important thing for any consumer when buying a car is understanding, why are you buying that car? What will it do, so that you understand and expect everything that you need and be able to make sure that you can mix and match with your needs and wants, right? This truck, the base of the truck is called the Jeep Grand Cherokee, and it's been around forever, and it was like a nice box. They've been classics, they've been like the cheap man's Range Rover, if you will, forever, or at least that's the way I looked at them. For the longest time ever, they had the same beautiful classic design that was square. And back in the day, I think when I was like 13, 14, they changed and redesigned the entire thing, and it was not anymore a box. They made the new, more rounded truck, which is kind of looks like the version that I'm sitting on right now. And it was beautiful. When it came out, I was obsessed with it. It was my dream car to have one of these or have a Pathfinder. The two of them came out with a bang, and they were so hot, and the model was great, and I loved it, and many people did, and it was very successful for many, many years. And after that, they made more variations of the car. Like, for example, after they did that first version, they came out with a second generation, and then for the first time, I believe they put the SRT8 badge on that car, and they made one of these, not a Trackhawk, they call it the SRT8, and it had 420 horsepower, supercharged, V8, monstrous power, stiff as fuck. It was not the greatest car, but it was fun to light it up. It really was. And after that, they came out with more generations of the car, but as the car kept coming out, I think it got worse right after that. And they had many, many problems, and a lot of those problems were the trucks were flipping. If you were making a quick evasive maneuver from left to right, the car would flip a lot of the times. So they had a lot of recalls, they had a lot of problems with that. Then they had the issue with the gear lever that started killing people, and cars were rolling down hills, but they fixed it. So now they fixed all of that stuff, and they said, you know what? Let's go with the same formula that we used for the Challenger. Because when the Challenger came out, it was a beautiful muscle car, controversial as fuck, because everyone said, yeah, it's a big muscle car, but it doesn't have the to really put it on the map. And then they put the 707 horsepower Hellcat motor in it, and then it exploded. And then everyone wanted a Challenger, every version of the Challenger. And then SRT thought, well, why don't we just do the same for the Charger? And they put it on the 4-door version, and everybody wanted that car. So when Jeep came out and they were like, all right, we need some eyes back in here, they were like, let's put that same powertrain, that engine in this truck and see how that goes. And I think the results are pretty epic. And let me show you, because I am in awe. Let's go. So what exactly does this truck have to do to be able to impress everyone, right? So that it can hit every single one of those check boxes. So there's multiple answers here. Number one, speed.
I think we got that. Yep, I think we got the speed. I don't think that was a problem. So speed you got this monstrous 707 horsepower engine from the Hellcat. And if you guys know, and if you've seen any videos, you've seen the Hellcat dancing. Whenever I step on it, the Hellcat dances a little bit because it's only rear wheel drive. This one's an all-wheel drive car with that monster engine. And you know what that means? That means the traction from the start is unbeatable in this thing, because you're really putting all of the power down to those tires and onto the road. And the acceleration is mind-boggling. It's actually fucking, it's insulting. And and the most beautiful thing about this is, no matter how fast you're going or slow you're going, whenever you step on it, you're always gonna have the same reaction. And I actually haven't found the limit of where the power stops coming and giving you more and more, and that's what she said. Holy crap. What about the handling? The handling's actually pretty epic because it's an all-wheel drive car. So again, because of that, you don't get any dancing from the car. So it goes straight up. Yeah, it's not as much fun as a rear-wheel drive car, but it doesn't matter. I think the fun that you get just from the ability of the car to just take off so fast is way greater too. In a different way, obviously. It's a matter of preference. But god damn, I love it. I was honestly terrified that the car was going to be too stiff. It was going to be too loud inside. And what do I mean by that? I mean not enough noise-canceling things all around the car. Tire noise, road noise, engine noise. I thought everything was going to be coming in all at the same time and the suspension was going to be so stiff, but it's not. It's actually really surprising all of the shit this car can do. And I think this car is like most people should be in today's world. It's a multi-talented dude, and they excel at every talent that they have. Like, this is supposed to be fast. It's super fast. This is supposed to be an SUV. It's an incredible SUV. This is supposed to be great at handling. It's great at handling for its size. It's supposed to stop dead on, and the brakes do it. I mean, it does everything it's supposed to do amazingly well, and then some. I've never seen anything like that. Cars normally you had to sacrifice, and sacrifice was the word that I was looking for. You have to sacrifice performance for comfort. You have to sacrifice that comfort for the performance. You have to sacrifice your back for, you know, for getting a sports car. Now you don't have to do those things. This truck is incredible at accelerating. It's incredible at braking. It makes a great noise. I love the supercharger sound. I love the looks. I mean, this is the one car for everyone. Let's say you're a new dad, you know, you have a newborn or a 1-2-year-old, and you had a sports car, you had to sell it, and now you have to get into the truck life, right? Because it's part of your work, it's part of your life, you're at that stage, you cannot buy yourself all these other cars. This is a perfect car for that. This is an unreal car that provides everything that you need and then some at such a great fun level. And it does it all brilliantly. The whiner from the blower, listen to it. Oh my god! It's one of the greatest sounds ever in any car. I love this setup. I personally think this is one of the best SUVs, mid-size SUVs, if not the best one I've ever driven. I'm dead fucking serious. My GLE Coupe was fun and it was great and it made the right noise, but this feels like a finished version of that. It's more wild, it's more raw, it's just better at everything. And it's also cheaper, which is the other thing. I was worried that because this is not a Mercedes, I wasn't gonna fall in love with it. I wasn't gonna like it because the interior wasn't that nice. I think we're there, people. I think we're absolutely there. And I'm gonna leave you with that. What do you guys think? This is my favorite mid-size SUV ever. Which one's yours and why? Please let me know in the comments down below. People, my name is Alejandro. Thank you so very much for spending your time with me. I appreciate you. Have a fucking amazing day and kick some ass. Take care.